The billionaire businessman and philanthropist, Dr. Deji Adeleke, on Wednesday, publicly addressed for the first time the long-running paternity controversy involving his son, Afrobeats singer David Adeleke, and a young girl, Olunloyo, allegedly fathered by the artiste. Speaking at a press conference on Wednesday, Adeleke dismissed the paternity claims as false and accused controversial social media commentator Kemi Olunloyo of impersonating the child and her mother online for years to sustain the allegations. The controversy centers on Ayola Binjo, an Ibadan-based woman who claimed she had sexual relations with Davido during one of his visits to the city several years ago, leading to the birth of a baby girl, Anu, whom she alleged the singer abandoned. The matter resurfaced recently after an Instagram account said to belong to the child appealed to Davido to submit to another DNA test. In response, the singer stated that 5 DNA tests had already been conducted, all of which returned negative results. Addressing journalists, Adeleke said he was compelled to speak publicly due to the repeated resurfacing of the issue. I am Deji Adeleke, I'm the father of 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls. David Adeleke, who you all know as Davido, is the baby of my family, he's the last. I'm calling this press conference, and this is my very first time addressing the press, and for just one single reason. I'm not on social media, but I'm sure those of you on social media have been inundated with all kinds of talks about this issue that keeps coming up almost every year, regarding one little girl called Olunloyo, who lives in Ibadan, whom Kemi Olunloyo has continually alleged that David is the father of the little girl. Adeleke disclosed that he first became aware of the allegation in 2014, when he received a letter from a lawyer in Ibadan, alongside photographs, documents, and a birth certificate listing Adeleke David as the child's father. Tracing the matter back to its origin, Adeleke explained that he first became aware of the claim in 2014, when he received a DHL package from Ibadan containing photographs of Davido and the child, a birth certificate listing Adeleke David as the father, and a letter from the child's grandmother. He said the child's grandmother, a widow, appealed to him to persuade Davido to submit to a paternity test, stressing that she was not seeking marriage or financial extortion, but confirmation and responsibility. Also in the package was a letter from the grandmother of Anu, including her phone number. She wrote that she was a widow with 2 daughters, that she lost her husband years ago and raised them alone. She said her eldest daughter informed her that David Adeleke was responsible for her pregnancy after meeting him when he came to Ibadan for a show. She said her daughter gave birth to a baby girl and asked that David step up for a paternity test. She stated clearly that she was not asking David to marry her daughter, only to confirm paternity and take responsibility if confirmed. Adeleke said he immediately contacted the family, assuring them of his willingness to accept the child if proven to be his granddaughter, and personally arranged a DNA test at Vedic Lifecare Hospital in Lagos, with samples analyzed in South Africa. Immediately I read the letter. Even before speaking to David, I called the woman. I told her I hadn't spoken to my son yet, but if the child was truly my granddaughter, she had no problem with me. I would welcome her into my family happily. I sent my driver to Ibadan to confirm where they lived. I told her about the hospital I use in Lekki, an Indian hospital, where DNA tests could be arranged. The hospital explained that samples would be taken in Nigeria but sent to South Africa for analysis. He explained that saliva samples were taken from Davido and the child in the presence of all parties and that both he and the child's grandmother were designated to receive the results. On the appointed day, my driver brought the mother, the grandmother, and the child to Lagos. David, myself, and his aide met them at the hospital. Only David, myself, the grandmother, the mother, and the child were allowed into the room. Samples were taken using saliva, not blood, and sealed for analysis. According to Adeleke, the outcome showed a 0.00% probability of paternity, confirming that Davido was not the child's father. When the results were ready, both the grandmother and I went to collect them together, as agreed. The result stated that the probability of paternity was 0%. The lab explained clearly that David was not the father of the child. He added that despite the negative result, he personally suggested conducting 2 additional DNA tests to eliminate any doubt, offering to pay for accommodation and logistics while the family remained in Lagos. Adeleke said multiple tests were eventually conducted, all yielding the same conclusion. The grandmother broke down and cried. I told her mistakes could happen and suggested we do 2 more DNA tests at other reputable centers. I offered to keep them in Lagos for a week at my expense so additional tests could be carried out. Addressing calls for the DNA reports to be made public, Adeleke refused, citing security and legal concerns. It is dangerous for anyone's DNA profile to be in the public domain, he said, adding that releasing such data could expose Davido and the minor to serious risks. He stressed that the Adeleke family had nothing to gain from denying a child, noting that he already has 14 grandchildren. What is one more? He asked. Is it that I cannot afford to take care of her? But there is science. And science is clear. The businessman concluded by urging the public to disregard online narratives surrounding the case, describing them as misleading and driven by impersonation and misinformation. Watch the video below. Video: Adeleke slams false Davido baby mama saga, blames Kemi Olunloyo credit. X, one jobless boy. Follow us for more breaking news and videos. Pick. Twitter.com/oi31qtbnr8. Punch Newspapers, @MobilePunch, January 21, 2026.